That's Town Mountain's take on Levon Helm's Dance Me Down Easy from the band's Woodstock Sessions E.P. Here is mandolin player Phil Barker to talk about putting their spin on songs by the Kinks, Dire Straits, and the Stones, all at Levon's studio in Woodstock.
There's just a buzz to the place that any musician who shows up there, and you're right, it's his home, it's his studio, it's his playground. It was everything for him. It was all rolled into one, and it's all those elements kind of combined. The down home feel, just super laid back, and his dog was running around, and his wife still lives there, and it was just a beautiful place. And when you come into the building, for me, I was just in awe of you could just feel all the great musical occurrences that had taken place in this space. Around every corner is like, oh, I bet that somebody hung out here and was jamming with Levon or Danko or somebody from the band, or any number of thousands of musicians that have played there at this point. So for any musician, I cannot recommend it enough. It's just a magical place, and you can't help but feel the buzz when you walk in.
Yeah, Levon's been coming up in conversation quite a bit. I talked to a guy, I don't know if you know who he is, Chris O'Leary, who used to be singing and playing in Levon's band back in the day. And now he's on Alligator Records. He's a blues guitar or harmonica player and singer and stuff. He has a new album out as well. And he was like, Levon was his hero. He met him someplace in New Orleans and stuff, and just like he was the guy.
He's everybody's hero. It's kind of fascinating the way he lived his life. He could just draw people in with his magnetic stage presence, and the way he placed the beat on a song was like no other. And he can make any song kind of have this groove and have this feel that nobody else could seem to accomplish. But and for me, it was more about just the way he lived his life. He was all about the live experience and all about inclusivity and just having a good time with music, which is what we're all after.
Now, speaking of drummers, you guys have a newish drummer in the band now. The configuration has changed a little over the last year or so. So explain what has happened there.
Well, yeah, our last record, we kind of, in years past, we've kind of brought in drums as we were recording and kind of added it to what we had already laid down in some instances. And then but this last record was the first one we kind of built from the ground up with a drummer involved and kind of expanding our sonic landscape, if you will. And so this project's just kind of a continuation of that. We have Devin Neal is the drummer on this record, and he did a great job. He got to play part of Levon's kit, so that maybe added some of the mojo to it. But he like the rest of us, he's a huge Levon fan, and was trying to maybe capture some of the sonic similarities of what Levon would do. But yeah, for us, the drums are a relatively new addition, and we've kind of enjoyed kind of making this bigger sound and kind of trying to draw some more people into what we're doing. Right.
And Jesse has left the band, your banjo player, who's co-founder of the band. So anything to say about that?
Yeah, there was no big breakup or drama. He has two young girls at home, and they needed him around more, and the road takes up a lot of time. Right. And he just couldn't do that anymore, but we're still good buds, and wish each other all the best. So it's been good chance for us to refresh and kind of change the landscape of the band a little bit.
All right, let's dig into the EP. Since there's only 6 tracks, maybe we'll just whip through them all. You can tell me a little your side of things. Devil in Disguise is the opener, a J.J. Cale tune. How did that come about? Why that tune?
From the California shore to New York City, the beat don't ever stop. You can hear it on the radio anywhere you're going. It's as steady as the rhythm of a clock. Gussy's the noise of the city life, won't seem to go away. It's the devil in disguise, I tell you no lies. My fingers do the walking every day.
We're all obviously obviously huge fans and wanted to do something maybe a little bit more obscure than After Midnight or Cocaine or something. So that tune was probably the most natural one for us, because we play some songs similar to that old school kind of rock and roll driving straight ahead rhythm. We would just, like, the first time we tried to play it, was like, oh yeah, that's a perfect fit for our band.
Right.
And I just love and it was a good opportunity for Robert and I to double, to do harmony vocals throughout, which is kind of more of a bluegrass thing maybe, but having Cale would always overdub himself over his vocals, so we kind of ran with that a little bit.
Cool. And it's followed by Dance Me Down Easy, a Levon tune, which, again, if you're not a huge fan, may not be familiar with. Not a band tune, a solo tune.
I had a vision, they're wrong, just us two. I saw you loving me and me loving you. We was spinning round and round across the dance floor. Let's do it one more time and dance me out the door, y'all. Dance me down easy, rock me down slow. Dance me down easy, one for the road. You know how to please me when you turn your left down low. I turn me round, dance me down easy.
Yeah, again, like we could have picked the obvious band tune, but we wanted to do something that maybe highlighted Levon's work outside of the band. And he's got so many great solo records. That one's off American Sun, and it's just like a pure dance tune, country dance, funky tune that is great for a live show. We had tried playing it live a few times and got great response from it, and just wanted to kind of tip our cap to the stuff that Levon did outside of the band, and just the way he could get an audience dancing on any kind of music, really. But
yeah,
he had the funk for sure.
Right. And I see you guys co-produced the EP with a guy named Justin Francis. It doesn't sound like there's much actual production. It's like set up and play. Is that how it was?
Well, yeah, the co-production was, we recorded it at Levon's studio with the house engineer, and we were kind of working amongst ourselves to figure out what we wanted to lay down. And then we kind of went back with Justin during the mixing process, right, and kind of, EQ'd some things, and he helped us, balance and fade some stuff. So yeah, on the actual floor, it was us kind of calling the shots as to what we're going to play or how to arrange tunes. But Justin produced our last record, and we just love the guy, right, and he's got such a great ear, and we're on the same page. He knows what we're trying to go for, and has all kinds of creative ways to get there.
Cool. So then you got Flannery's Reprise, which is an instrumental track.
It is. That's a fiddle tune, an old fiddle tune called Flannery's Reel, which we had recorded on a previous record, actually. And we got in the studio. This was a late night after we'd kind of done what we'd wanted to do for the day. We were kind of just hanging out in the studio and just kind of let this one go. It's a reinterpretation of that Flannery's Reel. Right. And we kind of wanted to get a little bit psychedelic, a little spacey on it, and have a strong, strong kick drum rhythm going on it. And it was just a blast to play. That's a live take all the way through, and it was just a lot of fun. Yep. That's just us having fun in the studio right there.
There you go. And you mentioned from an older album. I read some of the press and reviews of the previous record of Lines in the Levee, and a lot of them almost referred to it as your debut album. Obviously, it's not. You've been around for a few years now. But does it feel like a new band, a new album to you guys, with the new label and all that? How does the band change to view itself these days?
It really does. We're introducing ourselves to a lot of people for the first time when we get this bigger, having this bigger sound and like touching on these different influences. So yeah, in a lot of ways, we've come a long way from the 5 guys in suits playing traditional bluegrass, which is kind of where we started, around one mic. And it's, but being an artist is all about continuing to explore and evolution. And this is just a really natural evolution for us. Everybody was on the same page about it. We weren't, nobody was kicking and screaming like, oh, we have to stay in this box.
Right.
We have to do this thing. So at this point in our careers, we're trying to do the music that we love to play. And what genre it falls into, we'll leave that up to somebody else.
Very good. And so the following 3 tunes are more familiar to a lot of folks. Dire Straits, So Far Away, that's a classic.
Here I am again in this mean old town, and you're so far away from me. Where are you when the sun goes down? You're so far away from me. You're so far away from me. You're so far I just can't see. You're so far away from me. You're so far away from me. All right.
It is a classic, and the thing that kind of drew us into that was Robert, our guitar player, is kind of one that brought that to the table, and it's just like those are classic country lyrics.
Right.
Like that song could have been written in Hank Williams era. It's just like pure, simple lyricism with great feeling and emotion behind it. So that one was another one that was pretty easy for us to lay down because we could all tap into it pretty seamlessly, and we really leaned into maybe a little more of a Cajun kind of country vibe on it, and just love the way it turned out. It's one of our favorites off the EP for sure.
For sure. And and then the Kinks after the Dire Straits, and that's not a well-known tune, but it's a great tune, Strangers.
So we will share this road we'll walk, mind our mouths and be aware our talk. To peace we find, tell you what I do. All the things I own, I will share with you. And if I feel tomorrow like I feel today, we'll take what we want, give the rest away. We're strangers on this road we're on.
It is a really great tune. That one was my one of my contributions to this record. I just, that tune is always, every time I hear it, I can never get enough of it. I could listen to that tune. That's one of my desert island.
How did you discover
it? That's a great question. It's kind of just, I definitely listened to a lot of classic rock in my younger days and still do, but it just came on the radio, I would imagine. And it just kind of became one of my favorites after I dug into it a little more and really tried to learn it and learn the lyrics. And it's just got such poetry, and it's such a great message of connectivity and yearning, which is kind of what we're all about as humans, wanting to connect with each other. And then just the chord structure is really interesting. The rhythm's really dynamic, and just love everything about it. So it took a little work to kind of bend it to our country flavor, but I love the way it came out, and I just love that tune.
Right. And one that definitely fits in with what you guys are doing, Sweet Virginia, the Stones.
Come on down, Sweet Virginia. Come on, honey child, I'm begging you. Come on down, you know you got it in you. You got to scrape that shit right off your shoes.
Oh God, that one was great. We were kind of like on that one, like, what would the Stones have done if they weren't completely blasted out on this recording section? Like, this recording session, they might have tightened the rhythm up just a little bit and kind of had some more focus to what they were doing. But yeah, that one is another one that fits our style to a T, country swing, and we just ran with it. And how can you not love those Mick Jagger lyrics?
Yep.
that make no sense, but make all the sense in the world.
Exactly right. And, it's interesting. I mean, the Stones are probably the oldest band of the bunch that you've covered, other than the traditional, and they're still rocking. New album out. Mick and Keith are 80. Have you seen them often? No.
I saw them on their last farewell tour, which was 3 years ago, I guess. They played in Atlanta, and my wife and I went to that show, and it was one of the best rock shows I've ever been to. It was amazing. Yep. Just they still got
do.
it.
I mean, I'm a bit older than you. I remember in the 70s, they were touring in 75, and people were like, how much further can they go? They're almost 35 or whatever. I was like, man, I just don't care.
Oh, it's God bless them, man. What an inspiration.
Yep. So this feels like, kind of a breathing, giving the band a breathing space, like testing the waters with new lineup and new different material. What are you guys thinking of next now that you got this out?
This is kind of a good holdover till we can get our next recording session together for our original material. But we definitely learned a lot playing these songs as a band, having to try some different techniques and different styles. And so hopefully it'll kind of bleed over into our next recording session, and we can capture that same kind of looseness and just free flow that the barn situation kind of lends itself to. It's just a barn. There's no there's no separation, or it's just guys in a room in a nice room with
I'm sure it is.
Some high ceilings and nice wooden beams, and so you just gotta have to let loose and let it fly. So hopefully we can capture that same kind of vibe down the road. And
have you guys ever played down in this part of the world? Australia, New Zealand, Japan, any of that?
Oh man,
nope.
Unfortunately, not. Our international touring has been limited, to say the least. We've done some Europe and Canada, but man, I would love to get to Australia, New Zealand. It's seems like such a beautiful place. And are there a bunch of tell me about the music scene?
The music scene's fantastic, and Americana is very popular, believe it or not. And they have a thing called the Byron Bay Blues Fest in Australia, which is gets guys like you down there, and then they come over to New Zealand from there. So there's your plan. All sorted.
Sounds good to me.
All right. Thank you very much, and have a good day.
Marty. Appreciate it, Marty. Take care.
Bye-bye.